Well, hello, everyone. I'm not sure if that was City Slickers or Mrs. Doubtfire, Mike. You can tell me.
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both, I think. Welcome to Professional Insights, brought to you by the National Referral Network and hosted once again by those two rakishly handsome guys with no hair. We're here once again. Yes, bow to the audience. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, guys are looking sharp for no hair, I'll tell you.
Yeah, for no
thanks,
hair.
Bret.
Exactly right. We're suitably coiffed. As they say.
Streamlined.
Yeah, streamlined and aerodynamic. That's what we are. And as you all are aware, or those of you who ingest this weekly little broadcast of ours, this is designed to give you insights, information, and wisdom and all that stuff so that you can use it in your business practices, your professional lives, and whatever. And today, as you can see on the screen, this is Bret Harding. Bret's a benefits broker, and Bret's job is to help employers win the war on finding talent and keeping talent. And if you've read the latest unemployment figures, it is war out there. It's hard to find good people, hard to retain them, hard to keep them, all that stuff, hard to keep them happy. So, Bret, let's jump right into this, shall we? Tell us what makes you and your firm unique. What makes you a superhero when it comes to retaining talent?
Great question. Thanks, Mike. So at Blackrock, to your point, that is our specialty. Is we help organizations retain and attract great employees. And to win that war for talent, you've got to have a great employee benefits package. You've got to give employers a track to run on. So the executive team, they all have their goals and objectives that they've been tasked with. And in order to do that, you got to have great talent, right? And so we help organizations win that war and get the right talent, get the right folks on the bus.
So, Bret, I went through your website and I did find it interesting that, the second largest expense is benefits. So what are the top mistakes you see business owners and executives make when it comes to their employee benefits and that human capital management, which a lot of people don't even understand? But what are those top mistakes?
Yeah, another awesome question. So a couple of the mistakes that I see is business owners, sometimes we see these shiny objects out there, right? And I compare that to, say, maybe a Fortune 500 company, right? So we have the big brokerages, and sometimes, unfortunately, they'll, assume that, hey, if I go with this brokerage because they are a Fortune 500, they're going to give me a quality experience. They're going to give me the access and ability that I need to attract and retain key employees. And that's not always the case. So, we see time and time again where, we take business from some of the larger brokers, and it's just been, they've had a new customer service rep, a new account manager, and they just have the cycle ongoing. Their account manager maybe has 2 years of experience. And so they don't know how to give that employer that track to go on where they can actually be invested in their company and say, hey, we're here for the long term. Our average agent has 15, 16, 20 years experience, and we've got the knowledge and know-how to give you the ability to attract and retain that talent you need.
So large brokerages aren't always the best, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you've got to, there's of course good ones, but you've got to do your research just like anything. And so that's what we find is that, a lot of times, there's a lot of turnover in those. And, when you do your research, you're going to get someone that's really worthwhile.
Right. And how tough is it out there? You keep reading about, hey, it's really, really tough to find good people. We've heard that for a long time. It's especially tough now. How important is this? If you find a good egg, you want to bring them in, you want to keep them for the long term. How important is making them happy, like with benefits?
Yeah. So
it's like a dumb question, I know.
No. I think that it is probably something that, right, people just assume that, an organization has employee benefits. So we work with a lot of tech companies. We're here in, I know Mike and I have talked about this, Silicon Slopes. So it's a huge tech presence, and, we can get pretty creative with some of their benefits. So, from, unlimited paid time off to dependent care.
Wait a minute. Somebody can go on vacation for a year. Did I hear that right?
That's a little extreme. So some folks would like to, but no, yeah, that's definitely a perk that is becoming more popular.
Wow.
But yeah, to your point, with employee benefits, we find that, you got the health insurance, the life insurance, some of those basic things. But, do employees really know that it's costing the company, $2,000 a month to cover your healthcare costs? And so we find that a lot of times that's not articulated to the employee. And when they find kind of, how much this is costing in real dollar value, it really brings them back to say, hey, wow, this organization, they really care about me. They're giving, when you consider all the benefits, maybe it's $2,500 a month in extra besides my salary. And so when you help kind of put that pen to paper and show them, it really goes a long ways to help attract and retain good employees.
There's an old saying I heard a long time ago. Most employees are paid just enough not to quit. So they respond by doing just enough work not to get fired. I've seen that occur with benefits where, okay, we know we have to have benefits. We're going to bring in the minimum that we have to bring in because we don't want to pay any more for them. I'm guessing you're going to say that's a mistake.
Yeah, it is, especially when it's like the old adage, right? We're using a lot of good adages here. So stepping over a dollar to make a dime, right? You got your talent, your employees, which are the most valuable part of your organization. You've got to have the right talent to be innovative and to be competitive, especially in the environment we're in now. And so if you don't have the best benefits package that's in tune with your employees, that meets their market demands, that's been benchmarked to ensure it's with the industry standard, or to your point, is above industry standard and what you offer, you're not going to keep good employees.
So Bret, here in Utah, right, the Silicon Slopes and the tech industry, they like to support each other.
Yeah,
I remember working for one of the tech companies when I was developing a capital stack for their raise a long time ago. They used Paylocity or Gusto or one of these lower startup, if you will, but
Sure.
they wanted to support each other. And they broker out their health benefits, or they broker out a lot of, they just do payroll. So what are some of these questions that a business owner should ask when they go to ADP or Paychex or Paylocity, or they just go and then they offer all of these inclusive, right? It's a bundle, but
Right.
They don't know what they don't even know. So what questions should they be asking of these companies to make sure they're getting those right benefits?
Yeah, good question. So again, I think a lot of those companies, they'll kind of sell you the kitchen sink, and to your point, you don't know what you don't know. So a lot of times you're paying for things that you're not even using. And then also going back to my frame of reference, where unfortunately the turnover in some of those industries is so high that we have customers all the time say, hey, I can't get a hold of my rep, or they don't have the experience. And we end up doing a lot of the compliance. So compliance, as we know, in this day and age that we're in, it's just continuing to grow and grow with new laws and legislation. So it's a huge part of what we do at Blackrock, is we help the organization with compliance. And that's something that you don't get from a lot of other agencies. I'll just say really quickly, we've done a lot of mergers and acquisitions, so M&A in this field, where either we've helped a company acquire some other company, or one of our company's clients have been bought out. And during that process, we've seen some organizations that were with, a vendor that was, whether it was one of the largest, they just didn't have the right folks doing the compliance. They came in the due diligence process and found a number of flags. The buyer either A, just said, hey, I'm not interested, and left, or B, found, hey, we got $100,000 in potential fines here, and you're selling it at 4 or 5 times multiple. So that 100 grand all of a sudden turns into 500K in value that the owners lost now, because they didn't have the right compliance or right folks doing
that dang multiplier goes both ways.
Yeah. So it's just critical to your point. Ask the right questions. Are you going to take care of my compliance? How much experience have you had? Have you had experience in selling companies? Have you had experience in acquiring? And making sure that the broker is going to meet your needs long term.
Well, compliance is huge. I mean, obviously we're in a very compliant industry, but Mike and I work with a client on a 401k, and they decided not to move forward simply because they're going through a compliance nightmare, and they need to financially, because it's going to cost them a lot. They need to clean that up before they even consider moving to another vendor. But yeah, compliance is horrible. Not horrible, but it's bad.
Yeah. Necessary evil. Yeah. I mean, it cuts both ways, like you said, right? So again, you just want to make sure that you have someone that's very knowledgeable. Again, that proven track record that when that time comes, if you're going to sell or if you're going to acquire, when those attorneys are in there doing their due diligence, that you feel comfortable and you got the right folks.
Bret, what are some of the changes that are afoot in the benefits sphere, if you will? It seems like it's a constantly changing landscape. How do you keep employers updated? How do you, what should we be on the lookout for?
Yeah, good question. So, a couple of the things that I'm seeing right now is, right, technology is moving at just a breakneck pace. It seems like it always is. And, we see a lot of HR departments of one, right? So you got the HR, either if you're lucky, you got an HR director or HR manager, but again, it's usually a department of one. And then you've got your other scenario where you have a lot of times an office manager who's, wearing multiple hats, and it's just hard for them to keep up. And so what we see is technology evolving, and it's continuing to evolve, and it's good in many respects because it does allow the company to be more efficient, but they don't have a lot of times whether it's the HR or HR director or even a VP of HR in larger organizations, the bandwidth to be able to say, hey, which technology is going to best suit my company's needs, make me more efficient, make my employees more efficient. Maybe it's applicant tracking system. Maybe they need a new performance management system or a learning management system. All these things that are critical to their organization's growth. We can help with that. And those are things that are constantly changing and evolving in this industry, is the technology side, particularly on the learning management. So we know how important it is for employers to educate their employees. There was a study that says, I think 75% of millennials said that they would consider leaving an organization if they didn't have a learning management system in place. So something that they can get certificates, right? Whether it's programming or maybe supervisor management, but some type of leadership training, something that will improve their career, enable them to move up the corporate ladder.
And how do you see your, this is of course hosted by the National Referral Network, this broadcast. How do you see your relationship with the National Referral Network helping your business? We always talk about you can't do it all yourself. We all need each other. We all need to plug into each other and expand our capabilities that way. How do you see your affiliation helping your business grow?
Yeah, another great question. So the National Referral Network's been great. So we've been able to refer folks. And what I found too is that the referral network is not just your run of the mill. These are ardent veterans. People, again, like we talked about, with proven track records. So I know those are the people that I want for my clients and that I want to refer, is those folks with that proven track record, because, it makes me look bad if I refer someone in and they don't do a great job. And so with the National Referral Network, we found that you guys have done a great job in making sure that you've vetted the folks coming in. And yeah, I'm working with one of the Mark Hatch, who's been with the network for a while. And he's
name dropper.
Yep.
Yeah. Not
Appreciate that, Brett.
Not afraid to drop a name. So, and it's just, again, high touch. So he's got a high touch with clients, and that's what we do as well. A lot of high touch experience so that the client knows they can call us, that we're there. And he has that same mentality. And so it's made us look good. And in turn, it just is a great thing, because when we look good, the client feels good, they refer us out.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. Mike, any thoughts as we wrap up here? I see we have Brett's, what do they call that? The crawl. It's on the
screen.
Think
that, the crawl. Yep, absolutely.
Screen. Yes.
Yep. So Bret, look, appreciate you being on the call and appreciate you being a part of the network. Ultimately, we do this every Tuesday morning. We have these professional insights, like Mike said at the beginning, to help professionals not only connect with Bret and other professionals on this call, but to also get that insight as a business owner to help them make better decisions. Because one of the key things that we strive to do is create education, not only from the National Referral Network, but from the sponsor, Protection Point Advisors, 100% education based. And that's what we strive to do every week. So if you like the content, please like it, share it, subscribe it. All the buttons are down at the bottom. But Bret, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
And if you're, and one more plug, if you're new to this and you don't know what the National Referral Network is, check us out at nrnamerica.com. You won't be sorry. You'll wonder, how did I ever stay in business without this? I mean, where is that too much?
No. I think it's keep going, Mike. Just keep going.
All right.
It's true. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.